my sorrow and dead in my sin. I was lost without hope, with no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began. Sing out, oh your grace. Oh your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. My shame was a ransom you faithfully bore. He canceled my debt and he called me his friend. Oh, that's when death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Yeah. Oh. Our Savior displayed on a criminal's cross. Darkness rejoiced as though heaven had lost. But then Jesus arose with our freedom in hand. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Yeah, that's when death was arrested and my life began. Washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. That's when death was arrested, my life. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. That's when death was arrested. My life began when death was arrested in my life. That's when death was arrested and my life began.
Hey, welcome to Prairie Lakes Church. I'm Cody. I'm one of the pastors here. And right off the bat, every single week we start with this. We're no matter church. And what that means is no matter who you are, where you've been, what you've done, or even what's been done to you, we need you to know God loves you. He really does. And you can look for him here with us. And as a No Matter Church, we want to talk about the things that are important to you. So today is going to look a little different. Instead of just one message, we're going to have 3 separate messages talking to topics that are important to you. So really excited about that. And if you are an insider with us today, my encouragement to you here today is to listen to these videos and think through who in your little Iowa could benefit from hearing from these. So we're going to cover topics like romantic relationships, isolation, and grief. So we're going to start by kicking to Pastor John, who's going to start us off with romantic relationships.
Back in the day, there was no swiping right or left or profiles up or down when it came to dating and relationships. I actually had to lie to my wife's face to get her to go out with me. And thankfully, I didn't have a profile that she could look at that I had to fabricate, right? So listen, things have changed. 40% of all relationships now, they start online. Now, as much as things change when it comes to relationships, there are some things that just don't. I want to give you 5 unchanging truths about dating and relationships. And here's the very first one. Learn to be content when you're with yourself. If you're content with yourself, then you can be content with someone else. If you're not comfortable with you, nobody's going to be comfortable with you. If you can develop a well-being, a contentment, a peace within you, just comfortable in your own skin, you can then be in a relationship where you can be content with somebody else. I'm just telling you, you can develop this contentment. You could really, really move into a healthy relationship. Unchanging relationship principle number 2. You can change email addresses, you can change phone carriers, you can change cars, you can change addresses, you can change schools, but you will carry the same baggage with you into every new endeavor. Deal with your bags. Listen, you have to have the courage to look deep at yourself and ask this question. What baggage am I bringing into this marriage, potentially, or this relationship that I don't want to bring in? Take the courageous step to deal with the bags that you've been carrying around for a long time. And if you do, you're on your way to a healthy relationship. Unchanging truth number 3, don't swipe this one away. You have been shaped by your family of origin, the people you grew up with. You've been shaped. Now, you're not condemned to it, but you've been shaped by it. The way they talked to each other, the way they treated each other, the roles they played in the marriage or the relationship, how they handled money, how they handled stress, what were the sexual expectations, all of that, you are shaped. So the question is, what shape are you? Take a good look at your family of origin, ask questions, dig in, and remember, your spouse or future spouse has been shaped by their family of origin too. So take a good look. How have you been shaped? Number 4, take care of your past mistakes. I know. Own up to them. Make them as right, now listen to me, as possible. Then you can walk ahead to new things. Deal with your past mistakes. Don't hide. Hidden things will always be revealed. If possible, and I mean if possible, have the courageous conversation to make things right from yesterday, to clean up your side of the road, so to speak. The Bible says, as much as it's up to you, be at peace with all people. You may need to ask for forgiveness, or you may even need to forgive someone else. It's not easy, but if you take care of your past mistakes, you can actually move forward. Number 5, you got to get this spiritual thing right in your life. You got to. And you may not be there yet, but you've got to get going on this one. You got to get this Jesus thing right. If you'll orbit your life, if everything in your life will orbit around this center of God, if you'll put Him at the center and learn to follow Him and let Him help you with life, right? If you can do that, I'm telling you, you'll be ready for a healthy relationship. Don't expect anybody else to calibrate your heart for you. That's not fair to a partner or a mate or a spouse. It's not fair. You cannot expect someone else to be your heart monitor. You own it. Don't abdicate the spiritual journey to someone else. You're responsible for your walk with Jesus. Own your spiritual journey. Your relationship with God can be the center of everything, and it can make everything work. And if you have a healthy, life-giving relationship with God, if you start that journey, I'm telling you, you'll be able to have life-giving and healthy relationships with others. Hey, listen, I know none of these is easy, but if you'll swipe right on these 5 unchanging principles, I'm telling you, you're going to be set up for healthy relationships in the future.
That was fun to see Pastor John kind of swipe back and forth there. But seriously, statistically, what he mentioned is more and more relationships are first starting online. That's just the nature of the world that we live in with the technology that we have. Most relationships are starting first online, friends or significant others. And I've experienced this in many ways. Some of my good friends, I've been to weddings where they first met online. I've officiated weddings where the couples first met online. It's just more and more becoming the norm. And we even see that with church a little bit, right? Right now, through technology, through the internet, we are having a church service. We're able to connect and engage with each other here online. But maybe you're ready to take that relationship with the church from a digital participation to checking us out in person. Maybe you're comfortable with who we are. You want to be part of a No Matter Church and you have one physically near you. It might be a good next step for you to take that step to try us out in person as well. So I'd encourage you to think about that. But we know that with this technology, we are more connected than ever. But there's also the downside to it. Statistically, there have been reports that have shown that we are the most connected generation, but also the most isolated. So let's kick to the next video on isolation.
I don't use a lot of social media. I haven't posted on a social media site in probably years, but if I'm perusing, it's probably Facebook or Twitter. Probably 800 friends on Facebook and a couple hundred followers on Twitter.
I would say I have about 650 friends on Facebook. I'd guess between 100 and 200 friends on Snapchat.
I'd say I use Instagram the most, and I have 974 followers.
Yeah, of the people that I'm friends with on Facebook, I would say, even with family included, I don't talk to very many of them personally, so 10-15%. Met a lot of them in college, and you don't keep in touch with most of those people after you graduate.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of mine are like high school and college people that I'm just not really in touch with anymore, but still follow.
I don't personally feel like connections through social media make me feel like I have deeper connections with people. I have a hard time trusting people. I don't know. Doing the online school thing was really hard because I didn't have connections with people my age. The loneliness feel was kind of just like I started believing all the lies that I was telling myself, or like no one really wants to be my friend, or I'm not like worth having friends. Yeah, I just kind of started to believe those things and not really put myself in a place where I could have friendships or relationships.
3 years ago, I decided to just move to a new town, and after I graduated college, and I knew nobody. So I'd say like my first two years there, I felt very like isolated, very like didn't know anybody, didn't try to make an effort besides like other teachers.
Currently, I'm engaged to be married, so it doesn't feel like I would be a person that would struggle with loneliness or isolation, but she currently lives in Des Moines, so that 2-hour difference is big because we don't see each other during the week, and because we're together most weekends, I've lost a lot of connections that I've once had. That's where I'm currently at, but if you want to think about like what isolation really felt like and what loneliness felt like the pandemic killed people, like just internally. We were coming out of it and I lost just so many connections that I'm like, if I just moved away right now, told nobody, how long would it take people to notice that I had moved? When was someone going to reach out?
no one cares about what I'm going through, about what I feel.
Just feeling like I'm not enough a lot, which is hard.
Yeah, I just felt apathetic to everything. Super unmotivated. Just waited for the next day, kind of sat around, did nothing. And that was my life for a long time. Something that I wish that I had known earlier, looking back, church was not the place that I thought I was going to find my group. It is kind of mind-boggling that all of my friends really now are from work or church, and my closest friends are my small group. Never would I have thought that's where I needed to look to find connections, and now that I've been serving for years and I've been going in the group for years, I feel super connected to those people, and they're the closest friends that I have in my life.
I found most of my friends at church through serving on the worship team. I feel like I still would not have any friends if it wasn't for worship and production, but it kind of took like that leap from myself, trusting that this was the group that I was kind of like supposed to be in, and just putting myself out there and being myself. I feel so welcomed and like valued and appreciated by all these people, and I know that they truly care about me and that I care about them.
I started by serving at middle school ministry and have formed pretty great relationships with other people that serve on that team. I also am a women's small group, and the range of like ages is so diverse that it's been really neat to just be involved with that group and learn a lot of things from their life experiences and be able to walk through life with them, and just knowing that they're there to support me no matter what, and I'm there to support them and pray for them with whatever they're going through.
I've also been in a small group that formed back in 2015. My group today is the closest friends that I have.
I'd say like just take the first step, because the first time that I went to Prairie Lakes in Fort Dodge, I knew one person, and it was very nerve-wracking, like going by myself. But just taking that first step of like entering the church doors and like there's people welcoming you there and people to talk to you. All those people are there for me now. And when I do go to church, like you said, like people are there that you know, like from serving with them or from being in a small group with them, and they'll come and talk to you, and you will go and talk to them, and it's just creating those relationships even deeper every weekend.
Yeah.
Wow. Kind of illustrates some of that, right? That we are one of the most connected but isolated generations. We can have hundreds or even thousands of friends or followers, yet still not really be connected to any of them. And that's where church community is just so great, because in church community, in relationships, you can get that depth, that authentic community, those people that are with you in the highs and lows of life. It just really takes those relationships deeper than surface level. And they're just people that you can rely on and do life with and just enjoy life together with. Those relationships, they can happen here online through digital groups, they can happen in person through physical groups. So I just encourage you, maybe you have lots of virtual friends, people that you're connected with, but you don't really have that community in your everyday life, those people that you can count on or rely on, that you are really close with. Joining a small group, diving deeper into church community might be right for you. So if you want to take that step of even just learning more what options might be available for you to connect with others, I'd encourage you here in this moment to just text groups to 99581. Again, that's groups to 99581. And I'm really excited for this next video as well. We're going to talk about a topic that really impacts all of us at some point, and probably on a pretty consistent basis. So let's kick to our next video on grief.
I believe that as you walk through grief, it's important to know kind of a first definition. Author and speaker Brené Brown says, grief is processing several emotions as you attempt to reaffirm or reconstruct a world of meaning and purpose after the loss. There are a few things that I believe are true. Back in my day, we were taught that grief is a linear process that goes through several stages and ends with acceptance. Personally and professionally, I've never had that experience to be true. And so I think instead, when you're processing the emotions, they look like any emotion you could possibly think of pasted on the outside of a ball, and that ball sits on the floor. The emotion on the bottom is what you feel, but a breeze could take it some way. Somebody could pick it up and bounce it, and all of a sudden you're feeling something else right away. And I think that processing emotions in grief can feel like that oftentimes. Once you get through grief, it doesn't mean that it is something that never is a part of your life. It's something that you've now adapted or assimilated into how you experience things. I believe that everybody's experience of grief is unique, but oftentimes research puts them in three very big, broad categories. One type of loss is a sudden or traumatic loss. These are things like losing someone to an accident or a heart attack. Perhaps it's a child that falls into a pool. But it's something that's very traumatic. A lot of times shock and denial are big parts of that type of grief. Then there's a category of anticipatory grief. So these are the griefs that happen because someone is going through a very long illness. Maybe somebody has muscular dystrophy and their ability to be mobile is declining. Maybe it's people who have experienced cancer and they go through a long journey. And sometimes it's dementia, where you watch that loved one continue to move forward and to lose part of who they are. The runway is usually a lot longer, and goodbyes start with the lasts. And so those things I think are super important to understand when you can see the grief coming. The last one is something that the research calls disenfranchised grief. And those are just grief losses that happen, and society may not consider them really grief. I think our society's gotten a lot better with miscarriages for people because there's not a baby and there's not a name, and sometimes there's not a burial in those situations. But disenfranchised grief can include a job loss or divorce or a move. And so I think sometimes just having someone to accept that that is a true loss and that the things that you are experiencing, the emotions you're processing and so forth are just as real. You know, an interesting one about disenfranchised grief is like people who choose a divorce can feel that way. And that seems very counterintuitive. But the fact is, your roles change and your routine changes and your responsibilities change. A lot of financial changes happen. The way that you parent kids can happen. And those types of things, you need someone in your corner that can just say to you, all of those emotions are real. And it's okay to even grieve a loss that you chose. The last thing that I would love to talk about is the fact that I believe that grief is really hard on relationships, especially the ones that are closest to you. And so, I think that a few things are just really important when it comes to those relationships. You experience the loss perhaps of the same person, but your relationship to that person is a little bit different. So I would just encourage you, listen well to the other person's journey of grief because it's different than yours, even though they're a loved one too. I think that it's also important to give as much grace as you can to them, even though you don't understand that. At the same time, I think that relationships change, so you need to talk to that person about how your relationship to them has changed and what you want moving forward. I lost a grandparent as early as 12 years old, but then I've also lost my first husband. 5 months after our engagement, he found out he had terminal cancer, and he died 10 months after we got married. Other losses include my father, and then in 2019, my brother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and 2 months later, my sister was. Early 2020, we lost my sister, and in late 2020, we lost my brother. Those have impacted everything as far as my family relationships and the difficulties that come when everybody is grieving differently. That side of the family has 28 people, and you can imagine 28 individuals trying to grieve. It looks and feels very difficult. Getting together with that side of the family is awkward and stilted and difficult. But what I have learned, or the things that I've shared, is that I want to give my family members a lot of grace to experience the grief in their own way. And I want to tell them how much their relationship means to me and what I need from them now. I can't just let my family go on grieving in their own way and keep walking apart, but instead to say these relationships are important to me and why. So I want them to know that I love them, but I also need them. I would say no matter whether you have a faith in God or not, that questions of why God come up when it comes to grief and loss. And one thing that I have learned is that God isn't afraid of those questions, and he's not afraid of wrestling with you on the hard things. I don't understand why a father would be taken or a mother would be taken. I don't understand what purpose God has in that in the long haul or how that fits into his plan. But what I do know is that my emotions can be brought to him and that he'll listen and that he'll be patient with me as I'm angry or that I'm super sad or that I just am so distraught that I don't know what to do. So I have hope that one day I will see my family and those that I've missed, but I'm also very confident that he meets you in the moments, however difficult they are. If you've experienced a loss, please find someone who will listen well to your story, ask you good questions, and encourage you to take steps in your journey. And to those who are loved ones, find a lot of grace with them. Tell them about your expectations in your relationship with them, and move forward.
Wow, we just had a great lineup of topics here today, from romantic relationships to isolation to grief. And my encouragement to you at the start was to view those, to participate in those, thinking through who in your little Iowa, who in your life might need to hear one of those. Statistically, these are some of the most pressing topics for people outside the walls of the church. So who in your life, whether they're connected to a church or not, might need to hear one of those videos. So I encourage you to think through that, to process that, and to be a blessing to them, to take that step of being a disciple maker, to share that content with them. And you can do that by viewing all of the segments from today, all the videos from today on a landing page, which has some share buttons for you to share that directly to your social media. And you can even take the video and send the link in a text as well. So to access those videos, to share those out, all you need to do is to text friend to 99581. Again, that's friend to 99581. Well, it was seriously great to be with you here today. I was super excited about how the structure of today's service was. We're gonna continue in our Asking for a Friend series next week, but kids, don't run off just yet. Children's ministry is about ready to begin, and everyone else will see you back next week.
if you stepped outside right now, what would you see? Maybe you'd see high blue sky overhead filled with towering white clouds. Maybe you'd see crowds of people, each with their own unique look and flair. Maybe you'd see leafy trees with colorful birds swooping through their branches. Maybe you'd see tall, intricately designed buildings or vast mountains. From the rough mosaic bark on a tree to the fine lines of blood vessels just beneath your skin, every bit of it is God's handiwork, or the work of people God created and inspired. Paul writes in his letter to the church in Rome, "Ever since the world was created, it has been possible to see the qualities of God that are not seen." As you look at the world around you, it's impossible not to see the fingerprints of God, to see God's power, imagination, and faithfulness. Seeing what God has created and hearing stories about the wonderful things God has done can lead us to trust God more and more. And when you trust God, you're ready to make a move. As you begin to rely on God to help you face your challenges each day, others can see God at work. That's why faith is an amazing way to worship God with your life. Because worship is about more than just singing loud, it's all about living loud.
Get ready, get set, ready, set, move. You've been with me from the start. You're the one who knows my heart. You are there for me, Jesus. You are showing me the way, love and kindness every day. You are helping me, Jesus. So I'll follow you, here and there and everywhere. I know it's true, you're always by my side. I'm ready for the time of my life. I'm set on doing what you do. I'm gonna share your love with the world. Ready, set, move. Get ready, get set, ready, set, move.
You've been with me from the start. You're the one who knows my heart. You are there for me, Jesus. You are showing me the way, love and kindness every day. You are helping me, Jesus.
So I'll follow you, here and there and everywhere. I know it's true, you're always by my side. I'm ready for the time of my life. I'm set on doing what you do. I'm gonna share your love with the world. Ready, set, move. Get set, ready, set, move. I'll do what Jesus told me, believe what Jesus showed me, love 'cause Jesus loved me. We trust that He is with us, no, He will never leave us. Let's shout what He did for us. Bring it down.
I'm ready for the time of my life. I'm set on doing what you do. I'm gonna share your love with the world.
Ready, set, move. I'm ready for the time of my life. I'm set on doing what you do. I'm gonna share your love with the world.
Ready, set, move.
I'll do what Jesus told me.
I'll do
Jesus
whatever you want me to do.
ready, set, move.
Trust in you.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Story Lab. This week we're talking about faith while we take a look at the story of someone who had to lose his sight to see.
Hey, I got your glasses.
Thanks, man.
You're very welcome. You have a great trip.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Carter.
And I'm Zeke.
We're talking about faith.
Which is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see.
Are you ready to move?
Well, I want to see what's in the box.
Me too.
You mean you don't know?
Not a clue. Wait,
What?
mysterious box? No label? It's a scary movie waiting to happen.
You're right. Let's take precautions. Okay, you ready? On the count of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Zeke,
11! Nothing. Oh, wait. There's a flashlight. And not a very good one.
hold on. This isn't just any flashlight. It's a black light.
Like what they use at crime scenes?
Oh, it can be used for lots of stuff.
Well, how does it work?
A black light gives off ultraviolet light that is invisible to humans. Certain fluorescent substances absorb the ultraviolet light and re-emit it at a different wavelength, making the light visible and the material appear to glow.
Cool. I wonder what we can see with this.
You're wearing a white shirt. Watch this. Lights. Wow.
Whoa.
Dude, look at your shirt.
That's awesome.
Oh, your teeth looks ridiculous.
It's like I'm radioactive. What else can we see? Whoa. Glowing fruit. That is totally awesome.
Ripe bananas get fluorescent so that they can attract animals like fruit bats that don't see the normal range of light.
Ah, God must have a wild imagination to come up with that.
Hey, there's a note in there.
It's blank.
You really think so?
Ah. Lights.
Find 6 letters around the lab and you will get a prize that's fab.
So we're supposed to search the whole lab with the black light?
Sounds like it.
Well, what are we looking for?
Not sure.
Let's start over here. Following right behind you.
I see you. Just make sure you have my back. Oh, look.
Ooh, it's a P.
Wow. Let's keep going.
Okay. Oh, it's a 3. But that's a number?
I think it counts, right?
As numbers do.
Let's keep going. Okay, so we have a P and a 3. Oh, look, look, look. Ooh, an L.
The plot thickens.
Yeah. I think we gotta find some more.
Ooh, right behind you.
We gotta find some more, Zeke. Oh, look. X marks the spot.
Harg, matey. Okay, so we've got 3,
P,
L,
X.
okay, 2 more.
Right, that's 4. I'm kinda scared, Zeke.
Don't be, I'm right here.
Oh, here's an A.
Scared me. Okay, 1 more.
One more. What have we got so far?
3, P, L, X, A. 1 more.
One more.
Where is it?
You find it.
No, I couldn't.
Dude, you haven't found one yet.
Oh, okay. Is it on the ground? No. Is it on the ceiling? No.
Ooh, you're moving too fast.
Oh, sorry, where are you? Oh, there it is!
Oh.
It's a C.
Okay, so that's 6.
Right.
What do we got?
We're done. Okay. 3,
P,
L,
A,
X.
C.
That's all of them.
3.
I said that.
We're done.
Finally.
Finally.
Lights.
Okay, that was 6. What have we got?
The 3 exact.
What if we rearrange the letters? Nope.
Oh, C-3PO. You know. Sir, the possibility of us successfully navigating the asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
There's no O.
Wait, let's see what it looks like with the 3 and the X put together.
Wait, I got it.
Oh, good, clap 3 times.
So we're supposed to clap 3 times?
You can do the honors. A gift!
What could be inside?
I have no idea. Open it.
No, you open it.
No, you open it.
No, I won't open it.
Me neither.
No, you.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Ooh, glow sticks.
I know just what to do with these.
Yes. Oh.
Zeke.
Yeah.
Zeke.
Yes.
I'm tired.
Yeah, me too. Oh, that was a blast. I feel like I've gotten to see the whole world in a new light today.
And we're just getting started. It's time for
The story before the story.
Today, we're in the book of Acts, which tells the story of the early church.
But before Acts, way back in the very beginning, out of a deep, deep love, God made an amazing world.
But when people turned away from God, the world was broken. God made a plan to draw people back into relationship. So at the right time, God sent Jesus, God's very own son, to live among us.
Jesus gave up his life and was killed. But on the third day, he rose to life.
After Jesus returned to heaven, the early church grew quickly with the help of God's Spirit.
When the believers faced trouble in Jerusalem, they scattered to other places, taking the news of Jesus everywhere they went.
Which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian. Today, I want to introduce you to a man named Saul. Now, if there was such a thing as a model Pharisee or Jewish religious leader, Saul was it. Saul, also known as Paul, was born as a Roman citizen, which gave him special privileges. Growing up, he studied the scriptures until he knew them inside and out. As the early church grew, Saul was just as upset as the other religious leaders. When a Jesus follower named Stephen was sentenced to die, Saul stood by in approval and actually held the coats of the men who threw stones at Stephen. Saul was absolutely certain that Jesus' followers were a threat and that the best way to please God was to get rid of them. He began going house to house, dragging believers off to prison. And when the new believers scattered to other towns, Saul wanted to follow. He took his plan to the high priest.
Give me letters to the synagogue in Damascus. Then I can go and hunt down men and women who belong to the way of Jesus. We'll arrest them and bring them back here to Jerusalem.
Fantastic idea. Consider it done.
With the approval of the high priest, Saul gathered a group of men and supplies for the journey. Now, Damascus, which was the capital of Syria, is around 150 miles from Jerusalem, so that would have taken nearly 2 weeks to travel on foot. But Saul hated the followers of Jesus so much that he couldn't wait to get on with it. After long days of travel, Saul's group finally neared the city of Damascus. The noonday sun shone down bright and hot, but Saul charged ahead, eager to carry out his plan.
We'll find them all. We'll stamp out this dangerous Jesus nonsense.
Then, something happened. Something that would change Saul's life in an instant. A brilliant light flared from heaven, so bright the sun seemed dim. A voice spoke from the light. Saul, Saul, why are you opposing me?
Who are you, Lord?
I am Jesus. I'm the one you are opposing. Okay, now imagine for a moment that you're Saul. You thought Jesus was just a troublemaker who was killed, dead and gone. Yet now he's alive, speaking to you from a blaze of light. It's like your whole world tips upside down in an instant. Whew. And Jesus wasn't done yet with what he had to say to Saul. Now get up and go into the city. There you will be told what you must do. The men with Saul saw the light too, and heard a sound.
What is that?
It's like thunder. As the light faded, Saul stood and opened his eyes.
I can't see.
Saul had been in full command, yet now he was helpless. Men from the group led him to a home in Damascus, and for 3 days, still blind, Saul prayed to God. During this time, he didn't even eat or drink anything. And that's where we'll leave it for today. The end.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
You're right, it's to be continued.
You cannot just leave everyone hanging like this.
Okay, spoiler alert, Saul's meeting with Jesus did change him. Later, Saul regained his sight, and instead of trying to wipe out Jesus' followers, Saul became one.
So, what's our part in the story?
Well, you probably won't hear Jesus ever speak to you from a brilliant light. Saul's perspective, his way of seeing the world, was changed in an instant. But as you begin to learn who Jesus is and choose to follow him, your vision too will start to shift. You'll start to see things in a new light.
Like the stuff that happens to you.
That's true. When you know Jesus, you discover that you are a child of God and that God loves you more than you can imagine. Everything that happens to you, even the hard stuff, becomes an opportunity to grow and become more like Jesus.
Knowing Jesus can change how you see other people too.
Yeah, it's like you get this supervision to look at your class bully or your annoying little cousin and see that they're made in God's image too.
And they deserve your love and respect.
Knowing Jesus means that you can pause at any moment in your day and ask Jesus to give you his perspective.
The more you do, the more Jesus will show you ways to love God and love people in everything you do.
Yep, I think you guys are seeing the light. See you next time.
So, here's the thing. Knowing Jesus changes how you see things.
Hey, do you think those glow sticks have any light left?
And thanks for joining us in the Story Lab. See you next time.